bring image planes in each panel you can go to View, Image Plane, and Import Image. And since I've got my project set, it's pointing to the right spot. I named these poorly. So this is the front view. So yeah, let's say for the front view we're going to model this slightly differently. This will be the superior view. So now we've got that. That's good. So now from the side view, do the same thing. View, Image Plane, Import Image. Now we want the side view. And then from the top view, View, Image Plane, Import Image, and so now we just have to make sure these things line up in this view. You can see things are a little off kilter here. So I can just grab this image plane and I can just move it by using the move tool if I want to do it that way, like that. Or there is, in the image plane shape, there's these image center tools. So this one we want to move in Z a little bit. So I'm just selecting the name of the attribute and then middle mouse dragging in the interface, and you can slide it that way. So we just want to make sure everything lines up. Same with this one. Now this one, we kind of want to get it out of the way, so we can actually grab it and do image center Y and just move it down here. This one, let's just make sure you can see it's maybe a little too low. We can line up the spinous processes. This one's actually pretty good. And I can move this one back in Z, I think, image center Z. And then this one I can move off to this side. So we have kind of got a box. Now when we move them to the side, it doesn't change our view here, but it allows us to see our model, which will be forming here in the middle of all these things. And I should do this for when I do facial reconstruction, because we have a skull and we're trying to build the face. We draw the face from two sides, and I always make sure the drawings line up. And a good way to do that is just create a plane in the middle, scale it up, and just move it up and see, okay, does the spinous process match here? Not quite. So you can see that this image probably has to come down a little bit. Just like that. So now they're just matching, so on. So you don't have to be totally precise with this, but if you aren't, like if, let's say we take this one and it's a little bit bigger than it should be, just scale it up. Like if we brought them in and they didn't quite match like that, if I was, starting to model and I wanted to go here and place where the top of the spinous process is, then I go over here and say, oh no, that's too high, I'll put it down there. Oh, it's too low, I'll put that up there. Oh, it's too high. It just goes on and on forever. Of course, you wouldn't do that. You realize what was going on, but it's very useful just to have things in order. So when you're taking photographs, just keep that in mind. Yeah.
Is there a reason why you dropped the bottom of the box so far below? Because like your two sides of the box were really close, and then your third reference image was quite low. Is that just doesn't matter?
I probably just pushed it down too far, but let me see, offset center Y. So all I really want is, let's say, our model, I'll just rough in the shape of our model here. So this is roughly how big it's going to be. So that when I'm working in the perspective view, I don't want these to get in the way, essentially. So I just push it enough out of the way so I can work around here and there, not getting in the way. A lot of the time you don't need to see these things in the perspective view. And under the show menu here in the panel, you can turn off image planes.
I'm just wondering if moving it really far from like the 0, 0, 0 coordinate is going to make it seem smaller, bigger in perspective views.
In the perspective view it would, but not in this view. So this view, even if I move this down minus 100, it still looks exactly the same. Because there's...
Because it's an image plane? Or is that...
Yeah, and it's so if I move this thing down, like so move the cube down -100. You can see it's way down there now. But it doesn't look any different here. There's no distortion of perspective in the orthographic views. So no matter how far something is from the camera, it will always appear the same. Now you can move the camera in and out, and that will change the apparent size of something, but the distance of something from the camera won't make a difference. Okay? That's a good question. Thanks. So for the first two things you're building, the vial and syringe, you guys can just find references for those online. I'd like you to try and build the syringe in separate parts. You know, it's got the plunger, the body,